Hello everybody, this is SMA Watts, and we are going to play some standard Silverblack tonight. I've been working on this deck for a little while, like an hour or two, not like weeks or anything. Going for a Boros Aggro deck. I was looking through what's been played before, and I was like, okay, well, White Weenie won last week. And I was kind of like, I took some cues from what was being played and all that. I was like, okay, so what do I want to be? And I realized I wanted to be able to be very aggressive. So I decided Boros is the way to go because the nice thing about a aggressive red deck is of course the fact that your removal can always go to the dome to finish off the game. It's just an incredibly powerful facet of red. The fact that direct damage can go to either creatures or players. So, ironically, I think I would have to cast all of my removal spells at my opponent's head to kill them, as I only have like about 20 points of burn here. The Boros Charms and War Leader's Helix obviously bring that up, but in my actual, like, what I consider good removal. Anyway, so what do we have? All right, we have 8 1-drops. We have 4 Boros Elite because we're running 25 creatures. He plays very nicely with everyone else. I was a little bit hesitant about running 8 1-drops because 1-drops can be easily outclassed in this type of environment because your opponent's also going to be playing creatures on the ground, so it's you might have the Boros Elite does not tack well into like Frostburn Weirds or various other. He's a 1/1 unless you have 3 creatures, and that was sort of the thing. But I'm like, I think he's aggressive enough that it's worthwhile. 4 Dryad Militants. Savannah Lion that also hoses Archaeomancer is well worth the price of admission there. One of the drafts of the deck, this was a 4 of, but I decided that Darien Skyjack is a little bit too fragile for what you get out of him to run 4 of him, and traded 2 of them in for more Firefish Strikers. But he's still a 3-power creature for 2 mana. If you notice, most of my creatures in the 2-drop have higher power than their cast cost, except for Firefish Striker, who helps us get through blockers. Boros Chainwalker, 3-power, 3/2 for 2, excellent value. Like he's just a good cast. Firefish Striker gets us through blockers. He can help break a stalemate. Wodja Halberdiers, because we get to play him, he is a better version of Boros Chainwalker. I mean, he's a little bit harder to cast. There might be times when I wished he was a Boros Chainwalker because I might draw double mountain or double plains. No, I guess if it was double plains I wouldn't wash, but I might draw double mountain and be like, well, if he was a Gorehouse, I could play him, but I can't. But he does have he gets first strike when he battalions, and first strike plays very nicely with direct damage based removal because if they block with something that could potentially kill him, you can hit it with a magma jet, and then if it has a 5 toughness, he kills it and lives, and you get to scry. So Wodja Halberdiers is, in my opinion, the face of this deck because red-white, hyper-aggressive. Banisher Priest is just a good tempo play. Your 3-drop can remove if you're on the draw. Your 3-drop removes their 3-drop, and then your 2-drop gets in. Usually worse to remove their 2-drop with your 3-drop, but still good as it puts a creature on the board and takes a creature off. So, and then we're running 1 Viashino First Blade. I was debating about this guy for a while, whether or not I wanted him in the main deck or in the sideboard. I ended up going for a particular sideboard plan where he isn't. He's still in the sideboard, but he made his way into the main deck. All right, spells. We're running 2 God's Willings as this is our counter spell. This is our number 1 reactive trick. I want my opponents to be kind of aware of it. It's powerful, but you don't always want it, so I'm only running 2 of them. Because the big thing is, once you play it, your opponent then has to be constantly aware of the fact that for 1 white mana, you can give one of your creatures protection from color. So they have to, once they've seen it, they have to play around it and respect an untapped plains, even if you don't have it. So that's one of the reasons I like God's Willing as 2 of. Our removal suite, we have 4 lightning strikes, 4 magma jets. This was shock, but I decided I wanted to be able to scry to fix our draws a little bit. And with given how we may be sideboarded, I thought Magma Jet was a much better plan than Shock. We have two Boros Charms. Boros Charms is just really powerful. It's almost a Lava Axe for 2, but it also can just cause an incredible swing if you give all your creatures indestructible. Like if you're in a matchup where you both have like 3 creatures and you attack and they're gonna trade, like you're gonna trade 2 creatures for 2 creatures. You Boros Charm and now, well, they traded their 2 creatures for your Boros Charm, and you still have all your creatures on the board. They lose theirs, and it's a blowout. The Boros Charm is a potentially really powerful card, but once again, I want my opponents to have to play around it once they see it, but I don't necessarily want to draw 3 Boros Charms. So I suppose you can just dome them with it, but this maybe should be more. But right now we're going with 2. War Leader's Helix. War Leader's Helix is our big spell. Like, it's the most expensive spell in the deck right now. It's very powerful, and it's very rarely bad. Like, it can knock out a Messenger Drake or a Sarah Angel. It can knock out most creatures that are going to get played are vulnerable to War Leader's Helix. I can't think of any 5 toughness super viable creatures. Like, there might be some green ones. Maybe no, the Baloth's only a 4/4, isn't it? I don't know. There might be some green ones that are that are gonna be big enough to take the War Leader's Helix on the chin. But most creatures are gonna get you can just kill it with that. Though against another aggressive deck, you can just dome them with it, and it goes from being a race to a very one-sided race. As it's an 8-point swing. Basically, you got like a free attack in. Sideboard. The sideboard may seem really weird when you compare it to how aggressive our main deck is. We have a land in there, we have 3 Sarah Angels, 2 War Leader's Helix, our sideboard's very expensive. The point of the sideboard is that if I feel that I can't beat if my opponent is too aggressive for me to beat with an aggro strategy, like if they're mono red and I know it's like, well, they're going to be faster than me, I can switch out into playing the much more controlling game, bring in my Angels, bring in the more War Leader's Helixes, the First Blades as just a big body that kind of swings in, Banisher Priests. Electrickery is really the only part of that that's not part of that plan, and Electrickery comes in against Young Pyromancer, and like Young Pyromancer is the big thing, but basically the token decks, the decks that are going to try and just pump out a bunch of 1/1s, I want Electrickery against because I want to be able to not just get overwhelmed by 1/1s. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm playing tonight, and that's what it's going to look like. And thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the matches, and I hope I do well. Hope they're entertaining matches.